What up, it's your girl FJ, back here again with another video. I'm your YouTube Sherpa, bringing you up the mountain of knowledge. Today I want to talk to you about a very important topic, perhaps the thing that is most important to our lives today, and that is mistyping, mistypology. Oh my gosh. First, as you can see though, here I am in New York City, the streets of downtown Manhattan. I paid a lot of money to have the streets closed off for this shoot. I'm like really flexing here. Basically, what I'm here to tell you is do not trust intuitive people, intuitive type people to type you or anybody else. Don't trust them, especially those INFJs. Do not trust those people. Including me. Don't trust me. I've always said I'm bad at typing people. I don't even try to do it. But I think that intuitive people are the most likely to get typing wrong, to mistype people, to jump to conclusions. And I want to explain why. It seems to me that intuitive types, first big pitfall is that they want to type people intuitively. Their first reaction, their preference would be to kind of type people just based on a feeling, to not really think too consciously about it, to just get, how does this person feel? What kind of energy are they giving off? Oh, I get it, you're whatever type, because I just feel it. And I get that. The way I would like to type people is to just like spend a lot of time around, say, a bunch of ISTPs. Just get to know, what does an ISTP feel like? I put the quotes on the wrong word. Feel like. What is their energy? And then, after spending time around them, I would have internalized the ISTP-ness, and I will have understood the essence in terms of Platonic philosophy, the essence of the ISTP, and then be able to just go out and see where's the essence of these people. Why is that? Because intuitive types want to rely on their savior, their intuition. They don't want to have to look at a bunch of stupid sensory details and go down a checklist. They hate that kind of stuff. Intuitives want to just feel it out. INFJs in particular, and INTJs, because they have dominant introverted intuition, what they are prone to do is to study something for a few minutes and then get the gist of it and feel like they've mastered it. They know everything there is to know. You know, it's like I'll read the first chapter of an economics book and feel like I'm ready to be the next Secretary of the Treasury or whatever. And so INFJs, INTJs become overconfident. They think that they've picked up on the overarching big picture. They know what's going on. At first, maybe they do kind of get it, but then they get tripped up later on because they don't actually know that much. So an INFJ is going to start learning about typing people, and after learning like a few things is going to be like, yeah, I'm ready to go. Me, myself, that's how I feel. I'm trying to teach myself, I'm trying to learn how to type people, and I've barely scratched the surface, and already I'm like thinking I've figured it out. I've got people figured out. I can type them immediately. It's like, no, not really, because I haven't put in the work to learn how to do it. So that's something to watch out for. INFJs and INTJs also are going to want to disrespect details. We have extroverted sensing bugs us. We don't really like it. We don't want to take in new details. It's a big pain in the butt. So it's sort of the same thing. With the last thing I said, we learn a few things about Myers-Briggs and typing, and then we think we're experts and we're ready to go tell everyone what we know. It goes the same with another person. When we're gathering information to type them, we'll just pick up like 2 or 3 things and be like, oh, I figured out the person right away. And no, you probably haven't in terms of typing, because there's just so many things. How could you possibly do it without a lot of detail? That's not what INFJs like to do. We don't like to take in detail. We hate it. I feel like in order to accurately figure out someone's Myers-Briggs type, you have to kind of know them a little bit. You can't just get the gist of them after 5 minutes, after 10 minutes, and figure it out. A lot of that also comes from not asking the right questions, you know? That's also a fault of the test, is that the Myers-Briggs test, like on, at least on 16 personalities, for example, asks questions like,
I get really involved in soap operas.
which is trying to ask you, do you prefer F over T? But the thing is, there could be an INTJ who really does get involved in the soap operas. And there could be an INFP who hates soap operas. The question is not being asked correctly because all these questions can be interpreted in many different ways, and sometimes it's difficult to contextualize it. When we're trying to type other people, or maybe even ourselves, we're not often asking the right questions. I think we try to type people too much based on their behavior, sort of, or what they're drawn to outside of themselves. But maybe you should be asking questions like, what are the big problems in your life? What are your fears? And what are your goals? And things like that are really deep inside of a person. And like, what do you think of things in your past? How do you view the future? And it's only in asking these questions that you can start to get to the heart of the matter. Because if you just spend time around someone and they're talking about football, furthermore, when typing, a lot of times people will just assume all these stereotypes about all types, and if you don't fit the stereotype, then you're not that type. Or if you seem to fit another stereotype, then you are that type. They just make this decision, the typer. The typer makes the decision about the typee after like 3 seconds because they get that energy. I got that energy from you, man, and now I know what type you are. Clearly, we have known more than 16 types of people in our life. And so, yeah, there may be the 16 quintessential types. There might be the 16 stereotypes of what like a pure INTJ looks like, or a pure ESTP, a person who conforms to all those stereotypes. But clearly, there is more than 16 people in the world. So there's going to be a wide array of people who are a certain type, and they don't all look like each other, they don't all act like each other. You can't rely on the stereotypes. Just because someone is artistic, are you going to assume that they're like an NF type? You could be making a big mistake by assuming that. Or if just because someone really enjoys playing sports and things like that, are you going to assume that they're a sensing type? If someone seems to be outgoing, are you going to assume they're an extrovert? There's all kinds of things here. If you're too caught up like in the frivolous, like what people do, their behaviors, which sounds counterintuitive at first, but when you get too caught up in that, your biases are going to start to play into it. And so you'll say stuff like, man, this person is a really creative person. They've got to be intuitive. Maybe they're not. Meanwhile, you don't notice that all the time, everything that they are creative about has nothing to do with the abstract. It's all like in the concrete world. Like that's the more important thing to look at. You can't just make snap decisions based on biases, based on stereotype. Or reverse stereotype, like this person cannot possibly be this type. And so that is really why you should not trust intuitives or really anyone who is rushing too much into this to type you or anybody else. You've got to go on a little bit more than a gut feeling. You've got to have a methodical way of kind of going through a person, spend a lot of time with them, and based on that, make an unbiased assessment of what you think their type is. Now, do you see why this is so important? Why this is like the most vital topic of the 21st century? Anyway, that's all from me. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked it, leave me a like. If you didn't like it, leave me a like, but be angry about it. If you haven't subscribed already, hit that subscribe button and the bell button, hit it. Thanks so much for watching. I'll be back here again soon sometime. See you then.